time for me to introduce myself. You've been receiving emails from me for a little while now. I'm Coach Riley. I am the second assistant coach for Drake Women's Rowing Team. I came onto the team as a novice walk-on, knew nothing about the sport before I entered college, and then fell in love with it and decided to continue with some volunteer coaching, and then they offered me the job summer of 2019. I've been coaching here full-time for a little over a year and absolutely love it. Just wanted to say welcome to everybody, and the current student athletes are so excited to tell you a little bit about our team, the team culture, but mostly we just want you to know that we love each other as teammates, and we also work really hard. So we're excited to share with you a little bit about that. We're going to start with our structured Q&A time. So Clara is going to be our first one. She's going to tell you a little bit about our practice formatting, our strength and conditioning workouts, team nutrition, and a couple other just day-to-day things. I'll hand it over to you, Clara.
All right, yeah. So for our practice schedule, so as a freshman, first year, you'll start out doing 8-hour weeks, which is actually really helpful. So what that means is the varsity will be doing 2-a-days for most days we do 2-a-days, but coming in as a first year, you actually start with just doing mornings to allow you to adjust to college academics and stuff and just get used to campus, which is something coming in. I was like, no, that's fine. I don't need that. Whatever. Let's just jump in, keep rowing. And I'm so grateful for that little leniency first semester. But yeah, so we meet at our campus rec building and all carpool down to the boathouse together every morning. And it's just a really great way to kind of get to know your teammates too. It's only a 5-minute drive. And so we hop on over to the boathouse and we have a meeting with our coaches. We have captain-led stretching, and then we get hands-on, or we roll out the ergs or get to conditioning. It's a little bit different this year with everything going on. We've completely moved to the boathouse, which is really awesome and a lot safer than having to share facilities with other athletes. So just another way our coaches are always looking out for us. But yeah, so we row out of Prospect Park on the Des Moines River. And then after practice, we'll carpool back. And some days when we go to strength and conditioning, we'll be with Coach Ryan or Coach Walker, and we have a bunch of really awesome weight coaches that make specific plans for each sport. So they look into what we need to focus on. For some sports, it's just pure strength or agility or whatever it may be, and they make really awesome personalized workouts and regimens for each sport, and that paired with they're really great resources for nutritional help. I know Coach Ryan is really helpful, and he actually teaches a couple of courses at Drake in strength and conditioning, and he's just very well educated on anything you might need help with. And we also reach out to a licensed nutritionist through Hy-Vee. Her name is Ellen. She's amazing. She has just really helped us with day-to-day fueling and really helpful nutritional education, I guess, and also pre-race, post-race, all that kind of recovery stuff. It's been really helpful, and it also comes in handy when stocking our kitchen at the boathouse. So Coach Turner, if you have met him or emailed him at all, he is in charge of stocking our kitchen. And so at our boathouse, we have the bays and our team room, and then the kitchen and all of our locker rooms and stuff. And so the kitchen has a fridge and a bunch of granola bars and everything you could possibly need. All those peanut butter pretzels, they're so good. Uh, but yeah, so they're just making sure that we have the right kind of fueling foods that we need at the boathouse, and then also like when we go on training trips or for like regattas and stuff, just make sure we're fueling properly. Just another resource for you as well. We also, like I mentioned before, we have a team room at the boathouse. So along with being able to go there and kind of having our own space to practice now, it's also just really nice to have a little spot to go off campus. It's only 5 minutes away, and so like if you need to in non-COVID times, you need to go study somewhere off campus or just need to go, like sometimes we'll have team pizza nights or dance parties, as Lindsay shared earlier. It's just nice to have like that space, and it has a giant TV and a really nice sound bar and a bunch of those like really big, what are they called, like beanbag chairs. So it's just super cozy, and we decorate it each year, and same with the locker rooms. So it's become a lot, especially this year, like it's become a lot more of a team space, I think, and I think that trend will definitely continue if you choose to continue or if you come drink. But yeah.
Thank you, Clara. That's awesome. Does
Base.
anybody have any questions for Clara about our practice format, strength and conditioning? All right, I'll pass it over then to Haley. Haley's going to tell you a little bit about our team dynamic, just the social element of it, how we bond, and then she'll tell you a little bit about our athletic trainers as well.
Yeah, so I walked onto the team as a novice at Drake, and team dynamics is like one of the main reasons that I stuck with the sport, because I just met like so many friends through rowing, and they were always like really good at building me up and like keeping me accountable, and just like are so easy to get along with. And they're from like, we talked about how we all have like different majors and are from different hometowns, but it's still like just such an inclusive environment to be a part of, because we're just like, we all become this really close knit group of girls. And then we're like friends outside of rowing too, which is nice, because then you can like, it's not just always centered around like strict training and working hard at practice, but we can like have fun outside of practice too. But we also have fun at practice, because that's where we spend a lot of time together, and we do a lot of like team bonding activities. How Clara mentioned, we have like a team room, so one of the classics is to like play fishbowl with everybody to get to know each other kind of. And then there's like all these like activities that we have during the training trips, which I think Katie is talking about that. And then those are always fun. That's where like the most team bonding happens, because we literally spend like a week together, and that's really fun. But yeah, those are always really entertaining with like the team bonding events that we kind of hold. And even though we don't really like need like games in place though to just kind of bond together, it happens like throughout practice, and like we kind of facilitate discussions on like warm-ups and cool downs on to like talk to your neighbors and people that maybe you don't know as well, to get to know them, and then you'll find connections. And so it's really easy to make friends on the team and then kind of just stay friends for a long time. And COVID has kind of made it like a little more difficult to do like team bonding things, but we are actually like planning a Netflix party, which I think Jacqueline will talk more about that later, but we're going to do that tomorrow night. And so, yeah, there's always ways that we can keep connected. And over the summer, our group chats are always going, and it's just really fun to be part of a group that like supports you no matter what. And yeah, and what else am I talking about? Oh, and Emma Nye is also another person who is very supportive. We all love Emma. She's the greatest. and she is like the athletic trainer, personal trainer for our team, and the trainers provide like services for us for free, whether you have like a minor little something that you need help with or serious injuries. They won't like do surgery on you or anything, but like they can help you before and after with like therapy and treatment and stuff. Um, and like I go in there a lot for like muscle soreness and like tight backs, and so all of the like cupping and grassing and massages and all that stuff is just it's so great to just have access to that. And um, we do as much as we can, like at practice during warm ups and cooling down to stretch to prevent injuries, but they're always like good to go to for extra things, even like blisters and how to take care of them because we know that's always a problem. But yeah, they're just really good and they help actually make the warm up and like cool down routines that we do so that we're not just like trying to make something up ourselves. Like what we do is actually helpful to and specific to rowing to like keep the muscles we use warm and cooled and stretched and all that good stuff. And yeah, the trainers are just really knowledgeable about how to take care of us and help us take care of ourselves. So they're really good resources, and we use as much as their wisdom that we can and listen to all their advice. But yeah, they're awesome.
Great, Haley. Does anybody have questions specific to them or that they think other people might want to know about the trainers or the team dynamic? Is another great thing about the team. I love the team. That's the reason that I stuck around after my time as a student athlete is because of the team. And that's why I volunteer coached and then eventually took the position. And now they're planning an engagement party for me next weekend because I just got engaged last week. They're just super great. They have kind hearts and they really put others before themselves. So I love the team. Up next, Katie. We'll be talking a little bit about our NCAA athletic goals as a team, just kind of the direction and vision that steers everyone into a pointed purpose. And she'll tell you a little bit about our travel trips as a team.
Yeah, so pretty obviously our goal is to win. I like winning. I think a lot of other people on the team like winning too. So kind of how that goes with competition-wise and building up to NCAA competition. During the fall, usually we'll have longer head races, 6Ks. We'll race those sometimes in pairs, 8s and 4s. Usually there's like 2 or 3 competitions. Fall is just a really good time to get into rowing and get into the swing of things. Then over winter break, so before spring semester starts, we'll all take a training trip together. The past 2 years, it's been to Natchitoches, Louisiana. If you don't know, Natchitoches is famous because it's where Steel Magnolias was filmed. But that's a really good trip just to get in a whole bunch of miles with the team and in a lineup. And it's really nice because you don't have schoolwork to focus on yet because classes haven't started. And it's really an opportunity to kind of feel like a professional athlete. So then in the spring, we'll come back to campus and we'll take another training trip in March over spring break. Last year, we did not go on one, but the year before, we went to Florida and Alabama. During those trips, we actually get to see some of our conference teams, Stetson and Jacksonville. So that's a really good opportunity to once again train in the lineup and really get ready to go for our spring competition season, which happens all through the rest of March and April, which is really nice because it makes those months go by fast. So we'll travel a lot. Sometimes it's just weekends. Sometimes we'll take a bus. Occasionally we will fly, which is really fun to go to the airport and take up all of TSA and our Drake rowing gear. And then in May is our conference championship. That's in New Jersey. We fly to that. The course is really nice. It's the same course that the Ivy Leagues use, so we get to see Harvard and Yale race in their conference as well. And then the ultimate goal of the team for competition is to win conference so that we can go on to the NCAA championships. I believe those are held in Tennessee. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. I'm right. I'm always right. But that is the ultimate goal that we are working towards every year, bringing up new talent and really mastering old talent. So kind of like travel trips just for that. On the bus rides, we'll usually like watch a movie or do something quiet on the way there, so that if you have homework to do for that weekend or you need to finish a paper to submit, you can have an opportunity to do that. We will also try and do fun stuff as well. Like we've had story time on the bus. Karaoke is always fun, and it's a really good opportunity to bond as well.
Thank you so much, Katie. Yeah, story time's always a good time, especially when Coach Turner pulls out the stories. He has some dandies. Up next, Amanda is going to tell us a little bit about the Drake Experience, what to expect when you first come to Des Moines, Iowa, what's our campus climate like, and a couple cool things to do in the area.
So I'll talk a little bit about academics first. One thing you'll notice is there's like a lot of academic support and opportunity here. So for example, something that's super cool is FYS that all first years participate in. So you'll rank like a list of them that you're super interested in. There's like really cool topics. One of them I know is like Black Mirror, like a whole class like studying the show Black Mirror, which I think is so cool. The one I did worked with kids who had disabilities, and we got to like go to a nearby school and like work with them. So it was super hands-on too, which was also cool. But basically you get to rank the classes that you're most interested in. They'll put you in one of those classes, and it's like a super cool opportunity to learn about a subject that you most likely wouldn't have been able to learn about otherwise. And then moving on from academics, I'll talk a little bit about residence life. So the dorms are pretty nice. They're pretty spacious, and actually I think the beds are very comfortable, which I don't know if everyone agrees, but some of the best naps, sleeps I've had were in my twin XL bed. There's also like a common room in the dorms, which was super nice. So I know last year a bunch of us would like sit out in the common room and like talk, play cards, study. Just like it's super nice to have that there. There's also a kitchen if you want like bake cookies or something. That's also fun. And there's a study room too, which is nice, and free laundry. So I think those are some perks about living in the dorms. And then as far as dining goes, there's like a really nice deli bar here, so you can get salad, sandwiches. There's occasionally a stir fry station that's like super good. So and also Hubble breakfast is super nice. And actually our team last year after every practice would like go to breakfast together. So that was like definitely a highlight, a way to get to know everyone. And it was very yummy. I really like the breakfast here. So yeah, and then for campus life, actually there was a concert last year at the beginning of the year. I don't remember what the like name of the band was called, but they brought in like a local band, and it was pretty good. Very fun. Like you got to hang out with people and just like sit outside and listen to the concert. So that's super cool. And they offered that like at the beginning of the semester last year. And there's also this thing called Free Movie Fridays. So they will play, I actually never went to one, but I know people who have, and they really enjoyed it. They'll play a movie, and you can go sit and watch the movie with like friends and stuff. So there's also like a lot of food places around here within walking distance. There's a Fong's Pizza, which is really good, walking distance from the dorms. There's a boba place, rolled ice, also has rolled ice cream if you like that, sushi place. So there's food places nearby that you can walk to. And then on campus, there's also a bunch of, free popcorn and candy. That's cool. I didn't know that. There's also a bunch of clubs that you can get involved in here. So, for example, there's Best Buddies, where you could work with individuals who have disabilities in like the community. There's also some like political clubs if you're interested in that and passionate about that. There's some service clubs out there. There's really like a ton of clubs that you can get involved with. And a lot of people on the team are also not only in rowing, but involved in like other clubs as well, and would encourage everyone to do that. And then as far as professional opportunities go, which is super important, the academic advisors here are a great resource to like help you build connections and with professionals in the community. There's also a lot of career fairs for students and all different like majors and minors to participate in. So it's super cool.
Thank you so much, Amanda, first of all, for telling us all about campus life and Drake in general. Okay, up next, I'm going to ask Lindsay York. She's going to go ahead. She's a sophomore on the team. She's going to tell us a little bit about academic rigor at Drake, and then also some of the supports that the Drake Athletics program offers to student athletes.
Yeah, so definitely Drake stresses the mentality of you're a student first, athlete second. We want you to succeed in both, just because that is what we're about. Some of the resources we have here, we have Stephanie Sledge, who is amazing. She's like our advisor. She basically helps, like, if you're wanting to change your classes or if you need help, like if you're struggling in a class, like what's your options there. She works with the eligibility for like just to make sure that you are able to row and you're eligible to row by NCAA standards. So one of those things that we start off with, like freshmen especially, they have study hall hours. So each week you'll do about like 4 to 6 hours depending on your major. Those just, to me, those really helped a lot because it kept me accountable. It helped me keep focus. And then also, like, you're with other rowers and you're studying. So if there's a rower in your like biology class, if there's a rower in your marketing class and you need help with a question, you can like kind of collaborate with them. So it's really good. There's also like, there's just help, there's resources, more than you would get as a normal student. That being said, like, we really want like you to be able to row, and so that's why we have these kind of in place. So because you have to have a certain grade point average to be able to row, so that's what it's there for. And honestly, it's really amazing. I've never really felt that like I was going to have issues, because they're always just like, we're going to get you where you need to be, like, don't worry about it, especially even if I was like panicking. And to also segue off of that, because I'm also part of the I'm a voting captain this year for the Drake Women's Rowing Club, or not club, team. And so basically we stress here inclusivity and having everyone's voices heard. So my job basically is to get all the women rowers registered and able to vote on November 3rd. So that's just another really big thing that Drake athletes stress, that we want to hear everyone's voices. We want to like know what everyone's thinking, and we just, yeah, so that's another cool thing that's happening here. And yeah. Riley, you're muted.
I clicked the button, but I must have clicked it twice. I remuted myself. Thank you so much, Lindsay. That was great. And one more thing about the academic support is probably monthly to every 6 weeks, you'll have a scheduled individual meeting with a coach, one of the rowing coaches. So it will be myself and either Coach D or Coach Turner. And we're just there to ask you, hey, how's classes going? How are you able to juggle your academic life and your athletic life? And we just try to get to know you a little bit better and make you feel right at home and try to offer any assistance that we can by sending you either to the people over in the athletic services department or academics, or we also have a writing workshop on campus. We have tutoring services on campus for math and other subjects. There are lots of resources out there and we'll help you get connected. But thank you so much, Lindsay. Up next, we'll have Alex White, and she is one of our SAC representatives, and that's the SAAC. She'll tell you a little bit about that and team volunteerism.
So SAC stands for Student Athlete Advisory Committee, and Jacqueline and I are on that, and we meet. It's pretty much, they try to do it once a week, but recently because of COVID, there's really not a lot to plan. So usually we plan out volunteer opportunities, and we also get to plan events for student athletes. So last year we were able to do the Bulldog Christmas party, and Griff got to come to that, so that was really fun. So if you guys come, then Griff 2 will be there, which will be very exciting. We also get to plan out the team banquets every year, so that's also really fun. But with all the volunteer opportunities, we get to collaborate with other teams, and it's good. We get to meet once a week or maybe once or twice a week, depending on what there is to be planned. But we get to talk to other teams about what they're doing. So Jacqueline will talk more about what we're doing right now, but it's really great to get in volunteer hours and then put that on your resume. And then we all also get to compete. It's called Bulldog Cup. So you get points for going to other teams' events, other teams' games. And at the end, I think it's a financial. Whoever gets the most amount of hours, then you get money that can go to new equipment, new clothes, which is very exciting. But you can get a lot of volunteer hours in.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alex. I know that the team has volunteered in a lot of ways, and one of the major ways is through our Women and Girls in Sports Day. And we have some young athletes from the elementary schools nearby, and they come in and they hop on ergometers and learn how to row, and they go around to different stations. So we'll teach them to row. The basketball players will teach them a couple dribble moves or their drills, and then they'll go on to the Drake volleyball team and just kind of circulate around and learn some new skills. And that's one of my favorite volunteer opportunities through Drake Women's Rowing. Up next, Jacqueline is also on SAC as a representative of the Drake Women's Rowing team, and she'll tell you a little bit about the All One campaign that's currently happening in response to all of the racial unrest in our country. Drake is really devoted to inclusivity, and it's really important to us as a team that every person feels included and there's no discrimination. So Jacqueline's going to take it away and tell us a little bit about their efforts.
Yeah, so like Alex said, with SAC, usually we meet with all the teams and then we give like sport updates so we can just stay as one community instead of just separate teams. And then recently we've been having meetings with the Drake All One is what it's called. So it's a way for athletes to come up with ideas on how to keep conversations going, especially with the Black Lives Matter movement. So I just went to our first meeting this past Monday, and each team went around and said what they're doing to keep conversations going. And as Haley had mentioned, we are doing a Netflix party and we're watching 13th to talk about racial inequity. And then we're having a team Zoom meeting afterwards to talk about what thoughts and feelings it brought up. So we just thought this would be a great way to start the conversation and get it on everyone's mind, and to just be active with it instead of just acknowledging that it's happening, but really actually doing something. Sorry, there's a plane going over. I don't know if you can hear it. But so yeah, that's kind of how we're starting. And then other teams have been looking at articles within their sport. One of our other teammates sent a documentary that she wants us all to watch. I'm blanking on the name, but it's about an African-American high school rowing team and how they've struggled with rowing in general and just with finances and everything. So I think that would be a really good one to watch next. And then other teams have been picking topics for each week. Like I think it was the soccer team this week asked everyone on their team how often, thank you, McKenna, how often do you think about your race in a week or in a day? And then they're going to get together on Thursday or Friday and then talk about what everyone had been thinking about throughout the week. So we're going to start implementing some of those things and just continuing keeping it on everyone's mind instead of just letting it pass, because it's definitely prevalent all day, every day.
Thanks, Jacqueline. All right, our next speaker is going to be Autumn Palmer. She's also a sophomore on the team, and she's going to tell you a little bit about our facilities, what spaces we get to use as the Drake Women's Rowing team on campus, and also at the boathouse, and she'll tell you a little bit about that.
So we row out of the Bright Beckwith Boathouse, and it's a really, really nice boathouse. And it's really, really close to the dock too. You just walk a little bit and it's right there. And so we do have a team room, a locker room, and a kitchen. And some people already mentioned, but we do a lot in the team room. We'll have like team bonding, game nights. We do a lot of stretching and workouts in there. I know last year we did Zumba in there a few times, and that was really fun. And then the locker room, everyone has their own lockers to keep their stuff during practice. And there's 4 showers in there, so you can like change if you need to and all that. And then the kitchen right now, because of COVID, it's currently restricted. But normally it's like stocked with snacks for after practice. If you have to like run to class right away, you can grab that to go. Our nutritionist helps us like figure out like the right things that we should eat like after practice and all of that. And we also have washer and dryers there to wash our athletic clothes. And then we do have 3 boat bays. We have Pococks and Vespoli's, 8s, 4s, doubles, pairs, and singles. And we row with Concept 2 oars, and we have about 24 ergs. So that's that.
One thing that Autumn didn't mention was, along with our facilities and our equipment, we also get team issued gear. We are sponsored by Adidas. Go Drake, go Adidas. And essentially all of your rowing, all of your items that you need for racing. So your uni, splash jacket, sweatpants, sweatshirt, and several other t-shirts, one for weightlifting for strength and conditioning, and then a couple other items. We have some running tights that you get. We have some spandex shorts. All of those will be issued to you by the team free of charge, and you get to use those throughout the season. And at the end of the season, you turn them in your team issued duffel bag. And the next year, you'll receive those same clothes back to use the following year. So all 4 years, it'll be recycled. We do have a current shuffle through all of our gear. So we're replacing old gear with new gear on a 2 to 4 year rotation, depending upon how frequently those items get used. And that's also one of the jobs of our first assistant coach, Sean Turner. So he's working on keeping gear up to date, and it's really exciting when we get new unis and everybody puts them on and they look super great. Because who doesn't love to wear blue and white, right? Alrighty. And finally, last but not least, we have Beatrice Kearns. She goes by B. And she's gonna tell you a little bit about the transition from high school into college, just what it's like and how to manage that. Maybe tell you a little bit about picking first-year roommates if you're deciding to come to Drake, and then just what it's like to live in the Midwest for those who are coastal.
Yeah, so the transition from high school to college is definitely really exciting. There's a lot of new things going on, and I think the most important thing is to remember that like everyone around you is going through the same transition. And so if you feel stupid for not knowing something, someone around you also doesn't know it. And so I think being on the rowing team is a really great resource to make that transition easier. I know I came in with a really big freshman class of recruits, and it was like having 10 best friends right away, or however many of us there were. When we were really, really close. We're still very close. My class is really connected. And I think the team just has a lot of resources that are really helpful for that transition. Like Clara talked about, how you start with your 8-hour weeks, so you have a chance to focus on your academics, getting used to campus, living in a dorm. That's a really great part of being here at Drake. You can connect with people from other grades. So if you're in a class you're having a really hard time with, there's a chance that someone on the team has been in it before. And so that's another really great resource. And then moving on to picking your first year roommate. If you're going to be rowing, you want to be upfront about your early mornings and early nights. I would say that's probably the most important part. If you're really introverted and you need that time by yourself to recharge, that's another really important thing to think about when picking a roommate. You might want to pick someone similar to you who needs that time by themselves to recharge. Another thing is you want someone who has similar study focus as you, someone who's like as academically vigorous as you, I would suggest. And then also if you're really organized and like to have everything in a very specific place, make sure you have another roommate who has everything in a very specific place. My roommates are Amanda and Autumn, two of my roommates, and so Autumn is much more organized than Amanda and I. So Amanda and I share a bathroom and it works really great for us. Amanda and I's bathroom is very messy, and Autumn and our fourth roommate's bathroom is very clean. So that's my best advice about picking your first year roommate. Adjusting to the Midwest/Iowa, your first point of reference, it's not all corn. There's plenty of it, but there's more. Des Moines is a really interesting and lively city. There's so much interesting stuff to do. One of my favorite parts about being in Des Moines is the farmers market. So much good food, so many local businesses and farms to support. And it's just really exciting to walk around downtown, like seeing all the buildings and all of that. That was one of my favorite things that we got to do at the beginning of our freshman year last year. If you're from California and you've never had an Iowa winter, it's definitely an Iowa winter. Bring your winter coat in August. You never know when you'll need it. I think one of my favorite things about living in Iowa is being able to kind of take the time to slow down and appreciate everything around me. And one of my absolute favorite parts about Iowa is the sunsets, literally legendary. It's like this thing that all of the corn dust, especially after the harvest season, reflects the light and makes sunsets extra really beautiful. And that's definitely one of my favorite parts about living in Iowa. And Des Moines is so interesting. There's so much stuff to do. Going downtown, there's lots of cool shops to explore, especially Raygun, which is this store that has graphic designed t-shirts that have witty little sayings that are really fun. And then onboarding with the trainers and compliance. They're there, Emma and Caitlin, who are in charge of our compliance through the training office and compliance office, are there to help you. So ask questions if you have them. And I would just recommend getting that paperwork filled out as soon as you can, especially getting your physical submitted. It's better to fill it out wrong the first week of August and have time to correct those mistakes. So, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Bea. And when she talks about a farmer's market in Des Moines, Iowa, you might think a really small farmer's market. No, this is the largest farmer's market in the continental United States. It's huge. It's probably at least 7 city blocks, maybe more, maybe 10, maybe 12. It's huge. And you're surrounded by skyscrapers, and you just walk around and you see a million dogs. Everybody brings their dog. It's so great. But thank you, B. Yeah, telling us a little bit about Iowa and what you need to know as a first-year student at Drake. So thank you so much for attending, first of all. I'm so thankful to meet all of you, and I really look forward to any future correspondence.